Welcome to the Actors Gym. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Thom Scott, the founder and head instructor in the Actors Gym. What I'd like to do here with the Actors Gym is take all of the things that I've learned in front of the camera, behind the camera, as well as from the opportunities to glean from some of these great instructors that I've had, and then make the Actors Gym that kind of strong foundational background for artists to grow and be nurtured here in this market. And so we actually are based in Buckhead, Georgia. We have 3 levels, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. We actually focus on the Meisner technique, as well as doing monologue and scene study. And then we have what I call breakout sessions, script analysis, character development, emotional preparation, audition preparation. We also do workshops as well as private classes. So if you're definitely interested in the Actors Gym, make sure you come check us out. Go to our website, www.the-actorsgym.com. Listen, so I just want to let you guys know how important this is to me. And I want to make sure that I'm going to give you everything that I have right now so that you can grow as an artist and accomplish your heart's desire for what you want to do in this art. Before we get started, I got some rules when I teach. I have expectations when I teach. My main rule, my main expectation is that you do your absolute very best. Now, I don't know what your absolute very best is. Only you know what the very best is that you can do. So I want you to look what's inside yourself and determine, am I doing my absolute very best? And if you're not, then just change. It's as simple as that. Now, what does your very best look like in a Zoom call? That's staying focused. That's listening intently. That's taking copious notes and asking questions. And certainly if your questions aren't answered here today, then you can certainly continue to connect with the Actors Gym and reach out to make sure that you get these answers. And also do your own research as well. Misty, thank you so much for joining us. I had an opportunity to send out information about Houghton Talent, and certainly, you know, we certainly appreciate you here at the Actors Gym and the support that you've always, you know, shown to the Actors Gym, as well as the acting community here in this particular market. Today, as I mentioned to you on some of our emails, that, you know, this particular session runs the gambit of things that are necessary for actors to do to get into the market, right? To get into play. And I thought that you'd be a perfect person to speak on agencies, what agents do, how they connect with talent and things of that nature. And certainly when you were in the Actors Gym last time, you know, and whenever I've heard you speak at different events, I always walk away just in awe of your presentation skills and your insight, wisdom, and knowledge. And so thank you so much for accepting the invitation to the Actors Gym to speak on it.
Oh, well, that's really nice. That's high praise coming from someone who speaks to people. I don't necessarily think that's all true, but I'll take it anyway.
Of course, of course. So I tell you what, in as much as we have people from, brand new beginners to people who have MFAs, let's start with, what is it that you do as an agent? Like, what's the role and responsibility of an agent?
Okay, well, I think, and Thom, I would welcome your, anytime you have an additional thought, please jump in. Mm-hmm. But generally the role of the agent is to procure the opportunity, and then it's the performer's job to win it. So a great agent has access. And I think a lot of times people expect a lot of relationship with an agency, like they're looking for a connection, but that's really not, it is what agencies in the Southeast are more known for, but it's really not the normal nature of the agency relationship. So I think agencies in the Southeast hit a little bit of a balance between agency representation and what a manager would do in another market. I don't want to imply that we manage careers, we don't, but I think that performers look to us for a little more support and guidance than what your counterparts in New York or Los Angeles would be able to expect from their agents.
Got you. And so you had mentioned managers. Like, what is the so can you explain the difference between the two? right? So obviously, the word manager has a root of manage. And so like, how does that differ from what an agent does? Because based on my knowledge and understanding, it seems like there's overlap, and I've seen managers do what agents do. So like, what's the delineation between the two so that people will be aware and understand why and if that's necessary for them at some point in their career?
Okay, so I'm going to qualify this to say I've never actually looked up the definition of, so I'm going to go with my interpretation of management and agency representation, and we're going to speak to the Southeast. So an agent has a pool of talent, and we see whatever opportunities are coming through casting on breakdown services and relationships that we have and people that we work with out of market, whatever. So it's our job to look at the opportunities that we get, look at the performers who we have, see who is right for those roles, or see who we might be able to present or pitch or suggest who might be somewhat, off, like matching for certain reasons, but not maybe exactly right. So we do pitch, and it is our job to seek out and procure those opportunities. But I'm serving. My role is to serve my talent, my actors, my performers, but also I'm serving the producers, the casting directors, the buyer, right? So the agent is in the middle between the two. And a manager, the role of the manager is to oversee the performer's career. So where I might look at it and say, yes, let's take it. It looks good. It's a recurring role. The manager might think it doesn't pay well enough, or they don't want the performer to go out in the first season and then not be able to work. For example, a manager might be say, let's not have you work in the second season of The Walking Dead in this one-time shot, where the agent has the opportunity with The Walking Dead. We know how much people want to work The Walking Dead. We know, that there's some of those convention opportunities that come from that. So we would just present the opportunity thinking it's a great opportunity, and it is, but a manager might say, let's hold off. So a manager just oversees the career, and they also look more, we help a performer choose a headshot, but a manager takes a more, a closer look at all. Like I think many times a manager is not needed early in the career, because we can help you choose the headshot that you need. We can help you if your resume is off of format. We can tell you how to work in breakdown services or in a system. But as your career evolves, then at a point it's probably helpful to add to your team at the right time.
Got you. So at the right time, what do you think that right time is? Well, first of all, because we haven't even gotten to how we get to an agent, right? So let's start there. So if I'm brand new in the game, and so, before you jumped on, we kind of talked about the various steps, right, that led up to an opportunity. And we ended the presentation with getting auditions. And so the next step, we could do that by ourselves through Actors Access, Now Casting, and the like, so that we help build a resume and have something to show you. What the agents look for in talent to represent?
Well, Thom, it's changed so much. I think it's important. So can you tell me, is this audience primarily unrepresented new performers, or is it's a big mix?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I found that it's a mix. We've connected with a lot of students from Fulton County School Districts, APS, as well as colleges. Social media has jumped on for opportunities. So some of these students that are here today are looking for representation. We do have some artists that have MFAs. So, it's all over the place. So I think the best way that I would like for you to address the question would be, let's look at it as it's three-pronged, right? The people who don't have it, the people who may have it that are looking for the right fit, and then that next level who are trying to like reignite their careers.
Okay, all right. So in three tiers. So the role of the agent is so specific to what opportunity is in the market, and so I think you have to, if you're looking for representation and you're just trying to find just somebody for your first agent, then, and in all cases, right, you submit your headshot, your resume. It's very different with COVID. So I respect all of you for, and you, Thom, as well, for continuing to, plug through when it's a little more challenging, and the same for agencies. But I'll tell you, we're back, as far as from COVID, we're back reasonably to 85 or 90%. Like, we're kicking, we're so busy. And so the work is back. It's just maybe harder to get in because agencies are just trying to get back on their feet from having been out for, 6 months, which none of us has ever had in our life. And so when you're looking for an agent for the first time, I think you need to start with an agency. Probably not going to get in at a top shop. And by top shop, that just means people who've been around the longest and who have the strongest pools. They're going to be a little more discriminating because they have to, just based on what casting expects from us. When we put people up, they're expecting that we're sending people who have some experience, have some knowledge, have some credits. So, for us, we don't do a ton of stuff with brand new people unless it's a type that we really need. And things have opened up a lot. Diversity is key now, and certainly coming back during the pandemic with all of this cultural unrest around race, I think that all productions are going to be much more intentional. They were always seeking diversity, right? If there were more than 2 people, then many times they're looking for diversity, but much more so now. And so I think you guys, if you're a non-white performer, I think it'll be easier to pick up an agent. And for people who are looking to reignite, and this is going to, Thom, I'm going to step off here a little bit and speak to like the seasoned performer who's with their agency, but not sure if they're well served or if they're not happy. It's really important that you have a conversation before you start looking for another agency. Sometimes people will see us on a panel like this and they're like, oh, I could get a fresh start, and I could, meet with her. And you feel like you have some connection because you hear this, but I think it's really important. You just need to reach out to your own agency and make sure, like, are you doing everything you can do? Have they gotten negative feedback that you're not aware of that has kind of changed their perception of you? Like, how can you, make yourself the most valuable to the team? And it's like any other relationship. If you leave with unsettled business, then you just take it to the next relationship. So Thom, that's really kind of the seasoned performer and the beginner. And then is there a middle tier? Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, I think so. Like, well, I guess it's either, I think it is only 2, right? It's unrepresented and represented that's looking for someone new, right? Yeah. So, having said that, when you're in a situation where you are with an agency, what is your expectation from them and how they serve you? Obviously, I know it differs from agency to agency, but what is the bare minimum to expect from your agents? Because I think that's where a lot of misunderstanding about what they should receive from their agent. I mean, I get this conversation a lot. Hey, I can't book anything because my agent doesn't provide anything for me, right? So I get that a lot. And so you mentioned it earlier, make sure you have a conversation with your agent before you look to go elsewhere. But I think, in the progression of this conversation, we talked about how do we get in? So now we're in an agency. So what is the minimum that we should expect, and what should we still do? I talked about this during our presentation, that listen, you only make 10% of the money, so I still have to do 90% of the work. So what things can we do to assist you, and what can we expect from agents?
Okay, so the bare minimum you can expect from your agency is auditions. Okay. If you're not getting auditions, then I think you need to find out if you're being submitted. If you're in a heavy demographic, you're just going to see less opportunities. So it is a matter of just kind of, Thom, you just stay with it. I'm sure you see students all the time who, feel like they're training and doing the good work and they just can't get out there, and I would say when the opportunity presents itself, be ready, be trained. I think ongoing training obviously is very important. I think you should be very well versed in all the current projects that are happening. You know, you can go on, Thom, you should probably give them a link for this later, maybe. Go on to GPP and look at the meeting notes. Right now, the meetings are online, which is fantastic for somebody who's just new to the market. And just go in and see what all the shows are that are shooting here. And then you get a sense of a tone of what's happening. There's not a lot of comedy. So while I think it's great to, and you do need to be able, if you can train to be an improv, to be skilled with improv, I think is very important. But we see less for comedy. Thom, is that your experience as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But you know what, Mystie? I'm disappointed by that because I'm so funny.
I'm so funny too, right? And I
want more comedy, right?
Funny stuff. But yeah, but you know, it's funny. I talked to a casting. Oh, listen to me say funny. I talked to a casting associate in Los Angeles the other day. We were going over some notes for some talent she had seen, and she said, you know, the timing from the Southeast performers is just different. So it's just because that's not what we're versed in. That's not our practice. So I'm not saying don't study comedy. I think you should, and I think it's coming to the market. But for right now, what we see the most of is, you know, more in the dramatic, not overly dramatic, obviously, but you know, so don't invest a ton of time in the comedy at this moment. Like, it can be a peripheral study, but I think you just need to be ready. I think you need to know what shows are shooting here. If you're not getting auditions, then you can ask your agency. I think it is really important to be, I'll get some flack for this, but I think it's good to be a yes person. Because yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, I'm available. Yes, I'm happy to do it. Because what we get sometimes is performers who will say, sorry, somebody at my door. We get performers who will say, well, it's not a named role. I really want to go out for a name. Or it's such a lack of understanding about the way that the work happens. And if you can ever get on set, particularly if you're just new and you're getting started, if you can just get on set, let people see your good work, how capable you are, then many times the writing evolves. They might bring you back another time. Certainly they all remember you. We get calls many times from auditions where casting will say, we're not releasing this role. We just want to see this performer who we liked this other time. So for the actor, I think you feel like you're just piling things into a big empty void, but actually you're just banking on your reputation. You're making people notice you. And so, you know, I don't want to go off topic. So what you should expect from your agency is auditions. If you're not getting auditions, then I think you need to make sure they know where you're training, make sure they know what your skills are. We don't necessarily need you to tell us what shows you're right for. A lot of times actors will do that, or they'll say, this is my favorite show. I really want an opportunity. And I understand why somebody would say that, but it's just not the way the work works. Sure. Right? Sure. Yeah. And then as far as what can you, the performer, do, you should make sure that your materials are good. Sometimes even your 8x10, your headshot that's on the websites, you'll choose one where you're like, the position that I'm in right now, arms folded in its back, it's like this, but we're looking at 2-inch squares. So we just need faces. And I just had somebody really skilled, really capable that I've worked with for a really long time the other day asking me why we had the close-up shot that wasn't their favorite on the website instead of the, you know, the 3/4 that they had picked, the 3/4 being a more full shot. And so, you know, your agent knows if you just ask them, you know, is this headshot right? Or, you know, if your headshot's not getting any traction. And I'd certainly say if you've been auditioning or been being submitted for over a year and you're not getting called, then you need to change up that headshot. It can even be from the same session. Mm-hmm. Just change it up, because then they'll notice you again, I think.
Got it. That makes sense. So what I want to do, I want to ask you one more question, and then I want to open it up for the remaining 10 minutes here. But you have mentioned this, and I don't want to stay in this. And I feel like this is a negative topic when I say, because I'm just thinking about questions that I get from students about if talent is not happy about where they are, and you have mentioned that the responsibility of the agent is to provide opportunities for auditioning, and they're not getting auditions. how should that conversation be broached in a way that doesn't, cause waves?
Yeah. Wow.
You didn't get soft on me, but I mean, that's a real question.
Yeah, no, it is. People are, I find that people are very nervous about speaking to agents about anything. And so what I can tell you is the less, the less wordy, like you don't want to be rude or abrupt, but really people send 3 paragraphs to ask this question.
Right.
But it's a question we get all day long and it's our job. So it's fine to ask the question. So I think, I think you need to know if your agency responds better to in-person or, well, COVID, so never mind that. But, if they'd rather have an email or a telephone call. For me, it's always fine to shoot an email. I don't think it's wise to send it to only one person on the team, because if that person's busy, they miss it. Mm-hmm. And then it sits too long. And so I think I would just shoot out a note and say, and what I've tried to tell people to tell me is like, just shoot me a note and say, it's been, in the last 8 weeks, I've only had 1 invitation. See, an agent, we understand the math very easily there. Or if you say, hey, Mystie, I signed back with you in last August. I know it's been the pandemic. I really hope everybody's doing really well. I'm really sorry to ask you this question. We're just like, just get to it. And if you say, I've had 1 audition in 8 weeks, then I can immediately go and look in the systems and see if there's someone similar to you that I can make a comparison and be like, actually, there's been nothing for you, or there's a mistake. And I will tell you that a lot of times performers leave off their age because they don't want to be boxed in. But, agencies search by, Thom, how can we emphasize this? Agencies search by age and age range. So sometimes somebody will sign someone new and they're in the systems and they come up if we just search talent, or like if I just searched Black male. Mm-hmm. But if I'm looking for a Black male 30 to 40 and the age has been left off, they're not showing up, they're invisible. So then I have to literally think of them. I have to be like, wait, I don't have enough, or who's the new guy that we just signed? And so sometimes it's literally just a matter of a tweak in the systems. So if we know you've only had 1 in 8 weeks, then we'll know that. And, I think when you sign with an agency, you need to ask, how do I best reach out? Or if it's not going, if you don't feel it's going particularly well, then I think you need to talk to the assistant. Assistants they do so much work and they have so much knowledge and they're available to you. And so, I don't want to say like, don't ingratiate yourself, but try to connect with the assistant and say, can you just see if there's something I need to do differently?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's a good round number, real quick? From my questions before we open up, what's a good round number that the talent should expect to get? Because you had said, I mean, I know it ranges, but a range, like when should we know? Like you said, 1 in 8. I would have called you well before 8 weeks if I wasn't getting any auditions.
Yeah, so right.
I'm like, if I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks based on what's happening, I'm calling you. So, or reaching out. And then here's the final piece. It's a 2-part question. Is it inappropriate for me to ask for the breakdown report?
I knew you were going to say that. So it's not inappropriate to ask, but you need to understand that all the agencies don't provide that. We don't give that because I don't have, I don't want to say I don't have time, because I want to make time to serve the performer, but it does not serve anybody to give that submission report and be like, I had somebody leave during the pandemic and I was so disappointed. And when I went back and looked at the records, so many submissions. And so there was just a conversation that needed to happen. But if that person said, I want to just see this report, it would be heartbreaking to be like, I've been submitted 900 times or whatever, and I haven't been requested. And so we don't offer it. And I think unless you have the ability to sit down with your agent and talk through all of that stuff. Hey, Raven.
Hey.
I think unless you have the ability to sit with your agent and talk through that, I think it's overwhelming information. Sure. And so we don't provide it, but some agencies do. And as far as how often to contact your agent, Thom, I don't know that your perspective, like for all these for these newer people. Like, you're established in the market, you're established with your agency, you're established with casting. And so for you, you're right. If you're not hearing anything in 2 weeks, then you probably would reach out. But I think generally it's just so busy now. There's so much opportunity that people really do. They could tape 5 times in a week. They could tape 10 times in a week, 3 times in a week. But, you know, I would say reasonably in this busy market, if you don't have an audition in a month, right, then you just kind of reach out and check the climate and make sure, you know, and I would look at my own submissions too. Is my headshot showing up? We've seen crazy stuff.
So cool. Y'all heard that, right? All right, you heard it from Mystie Buice. So we're going to open up the floor real quick. Mystie, can you see the Q&A box? I mean, I'm going to read them to you, but I just want to see if you can see them.
You know, I saw them popping up, but I wasn't looking at them. So here, okay. I see
so there's a chat, and then there's also the Q&A box.
Okay.
So,
you want me in the Q&A?
Yes.
Okay.
So if there are any ones, we can kind of comb through it.
Okay, we can hit it. So, as a senior on fixed income, desired more training. I'm gonna leave the training questions for Thom.
Sure.
Okay, do demo reels have to be from professional work? Yes, they do. I know, I understand. Like, then how am I gonna have a demo? I get it. But, you know, we're looking for work that showcases you and is authentically your work. So I have not seen created work, unless you just put it, if you don't have anything, I suppose you could put a clip up and say scene work, like, as long as you label it correctly. Like, don't pretend that don't try to recreate a scene from a show and make us believe that you were in it. But I suppose you could say scene work, but the minute you have legitimate work, I would get rid of that, unless it's exceptional. How are agents preparing for the next potential shutdown? Bite your tongue, first of all. You know, the agencies, really, the work was very quiet for about, like, literally March the 13th, 0 work, all the way until maybe June, July. And you know, it could go away just as quickly. Like, it was on one day and gone the next. And so I don't think we can prepare for that. We just try to support the talent. We send out a weekly email to let everybody know kind of what's going on. Let them know it's not them, let them know it's coming back, but we can't prepare to be out of work for, you know, 3 to 6 months. It's just hard. How do you know if an agency is trying to scam you? Thom, that's probably worthy of our time.
I think so.
Okay. And also maybe this one about plus size. Hey, listen, plus size models get work, but if you're talking about acting, there's room for all types. And I think Raven Drummer can speak to that. Okay. Like, your size, all kinds of people show up on the TV shows. And that's where you could look at that list that I was talking about of watching those, you know, watch the GPP meetings, see what shows are shooting in the area, and then see which ones you fit. There are some that you're not going to be right for, but there's many that you are. Okay. If an agency is trying to scam you, you should not pay any money up front. Agencies don't offer classes. Agencies don't offer headshots. Agencies only make money when you make money. The exception is some agencies, us included, charge a website fee to put you up on the website, and that's just because we're not web designers, so we have to pay for that service. So we, you know, do an offset there. I think $100 a year is acceptable even under SAG. Like, SAG has I don't want to speak on behalf of SAG, but that's what I'm thinking. I understand. I don't get that wrong. But, you know, maybe a web fee, a modest amount of money, nothing crazy, nothing where you make payments, nothing where you have installments or it renews every year without your permission. You do have to pay. The only thing you do have to pay with agencies is you have to pay to be on the websites, like not the Houghton website, but Actors Access is free. 800 casting costs money. Casting networks, Thom, cost money.
Yes. Actors Access is actually $68 for an annual subscription so that you don't have to pay for submission.
You can upload files.
Yeah.
So there are several websites, and, you know, no agency wants you to do more work than you have to be seen. It's just, where does the work come to us? That's how we have to present you. And so we need you to be on those systems. So, and Thom can should you wonder, he could put out a list or you guys could ask, but the main one you need to be on is Actors Access. And then many agencies use 800 Casting here locally. We use it, our commercial and industrial division uses it constantly, but theatrical opportunities come through Actors Access. And if you're ever in doubt about the validity of an agency, I think you can call the SAG office. I would not call the Better Business Bureau because it's a different structure. I would call even a casting office and just say, can you give me a list of the agencies you recommend? Because anybody who wants you to spend money you're not supposed to spend knows exactly what to say to make you spend it. So you have to get some outside input.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I see this note. Do you work for the producers mostly? No, we work for the performer, but the opportunities come through casting. And so we really just work with both and for both, but we're your representatives. So we work for you, the actor. Now, Thom, I can keep looking. I don't know if we're out of time. I have no concept of time when I'm talking.
That's okay. You have 1 minute.
I got 1 minute.
1 minute.
Okay, let's see.
Put your hand in the pot.
Good idea to do background extra work. I'll tell you, Raven Drummer's got a great post on this on her Actor Minute Monday. So I'm not going to make you listen to me talk about it because she already talked about it.
How this last minute, how can talent seek representation from Houghton Talent?
How do you seek representation with Houghton? Well, so we still like a hard copy submission by mail to the agency. And I would say if you're looking to sign with us, make sure you have some credits. Otherwise, I think you should look for a shop that works with developmental, like people starting out.
Mystie, you have been a pleasure as always. It's great to see
you're so sweet.
Your wonderful face. In fact, the way that light is hitting your hair, it's like spun gold. So that is, you found your light. So yeah. You should carry that light around with you wherever you go.
I'll do that. You know who needs a haircut? Yeah. All right.
Well, you look great. Thank you so much
for having me. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
So ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard from Mystie Buice from Houghton Talent. So thank you so much for your time. Make sure that you post and hashtag the Actors Gym. Let us know and let the acting community and the social media community know that you enjoyed this class if you did. And I hope to see you soon in the Actors Gym.